Welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Emmett Muckles. Please visit iTunes, Stitcher, or emmettmuckles.com to listen to all the episodes for free.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. This is your host, Emmett Muckles, here to give you what you need. You are a billionaire. You were born a billionaire. When one cell from one human came in contact with another cell with another human, and then a divine dance began because you need that energy. 2 to the power of 30, you were a billionaire. You were over a billion cells. It only expanded from there. What you have to do is grasp what is in this life specifically for you to live fully. It is not necessarily about money. It is not necessarily about things. It is about the experience. Today, on this very day, I have Robin Alex with me. Robin is a college graduate, a serial entrepreneur, starting his first business at 16. He is now, or has, an award-winning marketing agency and has released new software. For over the past 3 years, Robin has built Innovate Fast, an award-winning full-service marketing agency with the primary objective to help other businesses grow by increasing their revenue and exposure in the marketplace via innovative digital marketing techniques and software. Please help me to welcome Robin Alex. What's up, my man?
Thank you. That was a mouthful.
Hey man, you know I've kind of gotten okay with it.
yeah.
You know,
that's good.
I'm trying. So, let me ask you the first question, which is, where were you born?
I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas.
Ooh.
And so, the crazy thing about being here in Dallas is that my parents actually came in the early '80s from India. You know, typical immigrant family. You know, a couple bucks in their pocket. And, just they were the ones that taught me how to be aggressive as far as just working hard, keep your nose to the ground and just keep working and potentially try to outwork everyone around you, because that's the only way that you're going to succeed, and take that taught me to take any opportunity and every opportunity that I had, because I can't take anything for granted.
And this is why I asked this question, because I can obviously see you and we're conversing with each other, and I know, there's some obvious things about you, but those people who immigrate to this country, they're not born with some of the baggage that is when you're born in a house. You don't, you see it from the outside. You see the opportunities, where if you're in a house, you only see the dread. Mm-hmm. And, that kind of, I want people to really own that. I want people to see, like, there's so many opportunities in this country, but sometimes when you're in the house, you just take liberties to what you have versus all the things that are available to you. But what made you get into market? I mean, this started as a hobby for you. How did it blossom?
Yeah. So, it's an interesting story, because like, even when I started my first business, that was more of a hobby that I turned into like, hey, I can sell this. So the people are paying me to do this. Let me just keep doing it until more and more people. But over time, as I transitioned into consulting and helping other businesses on the IT side, the technology side, in the early 2000s, people were spending thousands and thousands of dollars on servers and having, huge networks and everything. At the same time, they're spending a lot of money on marketing. Yeah. Having a website was really important. And people charge $25,000, $100, just crazy amounts of money for websites and stuff. But you didn't know any different.
You're right.
Because I don't know the internet. Is the internet even a thing, right? Like, this was before iPhones and all that, right?
Yeah.
And it was just baffling when I would get emails or, people will call me and say, hey, this company, they want to charge $25,000. And they would ask me what I think. And I'm like, well, what are you planning on doing with that website? What are you planning on doing on the outside of it? And everyone's like, I don't know. I just need to have a presence online. Right.
Yeah. That was a big thing.
Yeah. And, ultimately just turned into, over time, that people are charging a ton of money to basically have a business card on the internet.
That is so true. That's basically what it was. And people just got caught up in it.
Yeah. And so through that time, as people were asking me, I was kind of the guilty one that was like, you know what, they're charging you $25,000 or whatever. I'll do it what I think it should be, you know, for a smaller amount of money. And I would deliver it. And then we got into just more and more people started finding out about that referrals and everything, to where it's like, hey, we really need a backend database or something. So I'd get into those projects, and we grew it fairly large. But what I realized is every time that we sold one of those deals, it turned into a feast and famine, right? We sell something and then we got to deliver. So we stopped selling, and then we got to sell again. And then we wouldn't hear from those clients again. They were happy. They just wouldn't talk to us again because they didn't need anything else from us.
Right.
And so what I learned was I needed to figure out how can I get as close as I can to their revenue line and really provide an impact to people that I help. And once I realized that to be able to help another business owner, I needed to help them, you know, with their sales and marketing, driving marketing, you know, everything that I know in marketing, because you can drive marketing to a business and they could say they're doing marketing, but if they're not capitalizing on it, it's not helping their business grow.
Yeah.
So that's what we started pairing everything together. And once that became the focus, we've just been on a huge trajectory plan from there.
So even in your own business, you had to figure out the model of more than a single serving.
Yep.
Yeah, because
Yep.
you know that's one of the items that most people deal with, and that is the whole point of marketing. You need consistent business. If you serve an ice cream cone once and then they say, I'm done with that, you'll go out of business. And so you really have to think strategically long-term of the services that you can offer, which is pretty awesome. You know, automation has come into the fray. I use automation. I use Calendly, and I discovered that a couple of years ago because I was literally emailing back and forth and trying to get schedules together. But once you kind of merge schedules and automation, and it's becoming a mainstay, why is it so important from a professional point of view to grow your business?
Well, if you're not growing your business, you're dying, right? Because through just, you know, the world is getting faster, better, quicker. And if you're not evolving with them, you're just not going to keep them and eventually die. From a business perspective, I don't want to get all morbid. From a business perspective, you're not going to be able to keep up. And that's not healthy. You know, and so like I was talking to someone a little while ago about there's types of businesses where they're just fighting to sustain, and then there's businesses who are fighting to grow. And the difference is like people who are just okay with the status quo. Well, what happens with inflation and stuff like that, the status quo is no longer the status quo, but mentally you think that it is, but the world is continuing to move up.
Yeah.
And, you know, so businesses can't really function with that mindset. And I think that's the biggest problem that we're seeing. So with automation, you're basically trying to figure out how you can be more efficient with your time and efforts so that you can think stronger about what you're delivering and how to make it stronger, better, faster to move with the world today.
So what are some of the tools that you advise your customers with? And I don't want you to give the baby and the bathwater out, but just some strategies that you would say, here's what you can automate to make your process more efficient.
Yeah. So an easy way to explain this, and from our side, from a sales and marketing perspective, is that every business basically runs through the same sales pipeline, right? And what I mean by that is everyone is looking for new leads.
Yeah.
Everyone is trying to get those leads to turn into prospects, right? You want to have an engaging conversation. From those prospects, the next stage is, hey, can I schedule a time with you for an appointment? Right? So that's the next stage. Get that appointment. From that appointment, are they going to show up? There's no such thing as a no-show or cancellation. It should always be a reschedule.
That's a good point.
You know, there's no such thing. So from that scheduled appointment, are they showing up? You want to make sure they show up. When they show up, are you having a successful discovery call or in-person appointment or whatever to assess what's their problem and needs? And then from there, either you try to close them or you need to send them to the next stage, which should be like a contract or report of findings or whatever.
Right.
And then at that stage is where you close. So in every one of those phases that I spoke about, you should be able to automate it, right? Because everything is manual until you say, I don't want it to be manual anymore. I either want somebody else to do it, or can I leverage technology to do it for me?
So in your business as well, do you sometimes feel that you have to pull things out of your customers because they have one picture of what their expectations are, but you know the reality of it. And you have to paint a different picture for them and say, I know what your expectations are, but here's the information I need from you. And here's how it's going to affect.
It's funny. We talk to businesses every single day, and, starting out with the budget, it's, our first question is, okay, well, how much are you doing right now? They say, oh, we're doing X thousands of dollars per month. Okay, well, where do you want to get to? We want to get to, $1 million a month. They just want to get on the extreme other end. For whatever reason, the $1 million figure is always the golden standard. And I don't understand why, but it is. And that's fine. But then you ask, all right, perfect. You're doing this much and you want to get to this much. Well, how much are you willing to invest? Oh, all I got's like $5 in my pocket. What can you get me for that? Right. And so we kind of give them realistic expectations on like, hey, you did this, you spent this much money to get here. We need to optimize it as much as we can. We talk about that automation, in all those phases, because you need to basically become 3 people, 5 people to be able to handle that delivery flow.
Right.
And then from there, that's where you build the realistic expectation on here's what it takes to be on the other end of the spectrum.
So when you have those type of customers, can you correlate to them? Let's look at growth percentage versus trying to jump all the way over the river with your automation strategies. So we want to get you to $1 million a month, but right now you're at $20,000 a month. So
right.
Let's do it. Let's do it in a compounding way. So, and if we implement this, this, and this. So do you go through conversations like that with customers?
Yeah. So one of the differences between us versus a lot of other marketing agencies and what I do, and my team and everything is numbers don't lie.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's a lot of agencies, and a lot of traditional agencies from back in the day, they still sell this where it's like, hey, Emmett, we built you a website and guess what? 40,000 people saw your website. Bye. And you're like, what does that mean?
Right.
Like, I didn't make a single penny. In fact, I lost money because I had to pay you.
There's no conversion. Right? There's no...
I don't know. I just know 40,000 people came to my website. Now we get into the numbers and we realize like 40,000 of them are bots, the wrong people, because there's a misspelling somewhere or something, right? Like whatever it is. So where we come in is we're like, all right, we know that we can generate leads. What we need to figure out is how many of those leads can you turn into, or how many of those leads turn into a closed deal? Right. So if we generate you 20 leads if we generate you 5 leads, you know that you can close one of them. So 20% conversion, right?
Yeah.
And then from that one lead that you closed, how much value is that to your bottom line business, whether it's annually or lifetime? And you say, oh, well, in a year, that means it's $2,500 to my business. Oh. Right? Yep. So now we run the math back and we say, all right, well, how much are you willing to spend to get, or how much do you typically spend to get one closed client? Well, we typically spend about $150 through marketing, right? Like sending them swag or shirts or paid advertising, whatever it might be. We normally spend about $100. So that's basically $20 per lead is what it breaks down to.
Awesome. Now, I want to digress a little bit. I want to go back to how you built this company, because you say this turned from a hobby. How did you go from hobby to legitimate registered business? Was that a process for you? Did you understand that, or did you go get a lawyer or have a friend or someone who kind of coaxed you along the way and said, dude, you need to do X, then you need to do Y, then you need to do Z, and then we'll come back to A?
That's an interesting question. I haven't had a lot of people ask me that before.
They're not me, buddy.
So starting up with the business, it was definitely a hobby in the sense of part-time on the side, just helping friends out, and just other people along the way.
It was a hustle.
Really was. It was a hustle, and I really recommend that. And I think, we're moving into this gig economy where, turn on your phone and you can be on Uber, you can work for Amazon or whatever, just on the side, make a couple extra bucks.
Right.
But what really took off was the deals kept getting bigger. And then that's when I just saw that there was opportunity there. But there was a big risk going from, having a comfortable life to, we're kind of at that point of I have to decide where am I spending my time with, because I can't continue to work 100-hour a week. My wife was not happy. Right?
Oh, we know that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just kind of said, I got to jump all in on this. And that's where, we went into the business. Now, as far as formulating and everything, I like to think Google was kind of the best resource. I mean, I had mentors more from the delivery side, right? Like, teaching marketing strategies and watching other businesses do things. But the challenge is a lot of times you talk to an attorney or something like that. They're going to sell you the world because obviously they want to make their money.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of followed Google and try to figure out like, what's the least minimum items of things I need to do to be able to put this business together just so that I am legally covered to be able to sell bigger deals.
Right. And
not only being able to sell it, but for the other company that we're selling the deal to feels comfortable working with us as well.
Right. So you incorporated it so that everybody says, "Oh, this guy knows what he's doing. I can trust him."
It's legitimate, right? It's legitimate. And what I realized was it's not expensive at all. There's even companies. There's a big credit card processor called Stripe. They actually took a turnkey package of they'll become your credit card processor. They'll set you up with a bank account. They'll set up your incorporation files. They'll register in your state, set up your taxes, all for $500. Like there's even a world where they created a business about turning this around very quickly.
Wow.
So it's kind of a business in a box. So I think now technology has gotten a lot better. And so Google was kind of my biggest, at least starting point. And then from there, it was asking other business owners and stuff like that. Like, what do you think about this? If you had to do, it's a question that you asked me again. If you had to do it again, what would you do? And I started asking that to other business owners and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's an education that they don't give anywhere for how to become a legal entity to do business, because, you're basically, and I think this is a global thing. You're basically taught one of two things. You're taught to be a blue collar worker or you're taught to be a white collar worker. Everything else, they don't teach you to be innovative or to start a business. But
yeah,
that's
and two things that you said though, with one similarity, they just teach you how to become a worker.
Yeah,
and I don't want to discount that. They're workers are great, but for the people that are trying to aspire to do bigger, better, where is that education?
Yes,
and I think that's the gap.
Yep, that is true.
Right, like. There needs to continue education in what's doing and how to become a strong worker, whether it's blue collar or white collar. But there's a big gap in what, kind of the third area of how can you become an innovator or an entrepreneur or just learn life skills in this area.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome. Now, this is something that is so critical, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in business, whether it's with your friends, whether it's just finding out about your Amazon order. Why is there fortune in the follow-up?
Yeah, so every opportunity, so we're big in the lead management game. We want to be able to make sure, I said all those different phases, right? Mm-hmm. When you have a lead, you have to follow up to get that conversation started so that they can become a prospect. Right. When they become a prospect, you need to follow up with them to get that appointment. If you're not following up, you lose people in all those gaps. Right. And that's how you lose money, right? Because you're not keeping track. You're not keeping tabs. And just like in your home life, if you're not keeping tabs on everything that you're doing, you're going to, have relationship issues. Your home life is going to be not strong because you don't know if, but if your roof, you haven't followed up on your roof, on your home, well, when a storm comes by, you're going to have leaks, right? If you're not following up on your bills, your electricity is going to get cut off. So whether it's in personal or in business, fortune is always in the follow-up.
Did you come to that by accident? Or is that just your mantra where you felt that personally? You reached out for something or somebody reached out and you were interested and then there was nothing? Yeah.
So it's that weird thing of I personally followed it, but I never articulated it and that took me a while to articulate it, to come up with fortune is in the follow-up, a lot of, and that's through reading, and other people have coined that term. But I've always been the person of like, for example, my wife, she's kind of the polar opposite. She doesn't want to talk to you over the phone. If there's a problem, like with our AT&T, she wants to get a new phone or something, she will be on her computer for 45 minutes talking to them via chat. I would rather just you know what? I don't have time to waste. I'm just going to call them, get someone in 2 minutes, do what I need to do, hang up, and I'm on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I mean. Like for me, being a follow-up master, just constantly checking up on people, that's just my MO and everything. And so being able to translate that to other business owners so that they can provide a bigger impact, that's really what our focus is on now.
Who is your perfect customer for your company? What does your perfect customer look like? I mean, usually everyone says you have to know your audience that you are specifically designed for. Who is your niche?
Yeah. So to answer your question, there's two different things. Like we specialize in the medical space. So nurse practitioners, plastic surgeons, cash-based practices, they're our ideal clientele that we help with. We also help in the education space. So daycares, charter schools, public schools, things like that, and increasing their enrollment. Those are two areas that we focus in on. But when we talk about ideal person, like those are the industries, the niches that we work in. But when we talk about an individual person, what we're really looking for, which I mentioned earlier, there's two types of people that are fighting to sustain. And then there's people that are trying to double down, triple down, getting to multiple locations or really trying to excessively grow their business. Those are the ones that we really enjoy working with because they really, they appreciate the processes that in the system that we're implementing. And they're not only trying to implement it so that they can just make things work. It's how can they take it, put their own spin on it, and take it to the next level because they need to take it to the next level to hit their bigger goal.
Do you find that a lot of individuals and companies that you're dealing with, you have to implement process for them?
Without process, what are you doing? You're just you're just kind of playing off just intuition, which sometimes isn't. Business don't have intuition on areas that they don't even know about. They're the best at, in schools, like they're the best at delivering their product, which is educating their students and stuff like that. They're not the best at bringing in more students into it from an enrollment standpoint. Or, you have a mechanic. He's the best at fixing cars. He has no idea how to sell and market that to bring more customers in.
Right.
So, we have to be able to build that process because we're teaching them something they obviously didn't know. And it's vice versa, right? For me to learn how to fix a car, I got to understand the process on, hey, to be able to change the oil, you got to be able to, something simple, pull it in the bay, turn the engine off, let it cool down for 20 minutes. Like there's just that market knowledge that they know that can get speed to their bigger goal in life.
Yeah. So many people have their own way of absorbing information and processing information, or companies as well, because companies have a culture and they have kind of a personality. What's the most important communication method you should be using when you are prospecting?
I'm a big believer on picking up the phone, but a lot of people feel uncomfortable doing that.
That's weird, isn't it?
It really is. So probably 1A, 1B is right now text messaging. You can get to somebody very quickly. Text messaging, in my opinion, the statistic is like over 85% open rate. I really think it's a lot higher than that.
That's true. I never even thought of that. But
yeah, I mean, what's interesting about it is you can look on people's phones, right? Well, one, I think there's two types of people. People that, they have to clear through every one of their icons to make sure there's no notifications on there. And then there's people that have like 80,000 emails that they just haven't opened. But if you look at their text messaging app, 0, because they always check it. Oh, I got a new message. Who's talking to me right now? So that's why I think text messages are really strong. You
know what? You are so right, because you can send an email all day, but if you have someone's phone number, and I actually heard this a couple of years ago at Podcast Movement, they said we're going to move away from emails because the new AI doesn't do well with emails, but it does great with phone numbers.
Yep. Yeah. And, with AI and stuff like that, a lot of people are building chat bots on Facebook Messenger and other platforms out there. And so I think that's going to get improved over time. But right now, to get directly to anybody, SMS is the fastest way.
Oh, that's so awesome. All right. This is going to be a off-kilter question. What are you listening to right now as far as music?
Music. I'm a hip hop junkie. I think who's has a new record out that I really like.
who is your go-to when you go to Spotify, or you get in your car, you key up your phone or the thing on your dashboard? What do you have to hear at least once a week?
I hate saying this, but I am a big Drake fan. I can appreciate some of his stuff. I really like this, first mixtape, right?
That's all right.
And then, being from Texas, Bun B has always been my guy.
Oh, see, you just went up. All right. I got you.
Scarface and all those guys and Jay can't
okay.
Jay-Z. Today's artist, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar. I mean, those guys are hot too. So,
all right, you know what? You just
yeah, I know a little bit of hip hop.
You elevate it.
Yeah.
I'm an OG. I go way back, so that's all right.
Oh man, I can go. We can talk all day with hip hop. Right? So I used to be scratching and all that with Technic 1200s and all that. So bring it, man.
I'm not. See this little thing here?
Got the hard drive.
Yeah, I used to be a DJ, so I had to stop. It. All right, man. I just had to ask that question. I don't know why it came up with you, but I was like, I feel a kindred with this guy, so I have to ask this question. If you're starting out in business, if you have an idea, how would you say to proceed with it? Because some people are just scared. They literally don't know what to do. You started off as a hobby, which I think is great guerrilla learning.
Yeah. So, I think when you have an idea, you have to test out the market. And, I kind of started out as a hobby, just someone asking me and I just said, I'll take it on. It was more or less testing out the market and making sure that, one, am I able to deliver it? And what I'm delivering, does that provide the right impact to the right audience? Or was it just a one-off type thing? So you have to prove the model out. And once you prove the model out, then it's asking, to yourself, well, what is the next step to turn this into something real? Because I know that I've done this for people. It's not just, I know that people want it. It's, I have tangible facts proving that people want this.
That's dope. Now, this really hits home with the billionaire lifestyle. This last question I am going to pose to you, which is, why is it important to really focus in on helping people and not focusing on getting money?
Cool. Yeah. So one of the big things, that I really love with, helping people out is making sure that they do focus on helping people, making sure that you're providing a bigger impact. I think the more impact that you're able to make will naturally allow you to make more money in the long run. But you shouldn't make that as a priority. It's about helping people and making sure that the impact is great. The bigger the impact, the more that people will end up wanting to pay you more over time. And, so you'll make money on the back end. Just know that it's coming when, God and time is ready. It'll come, but it's about helping other people and making sure that the impact is great.
What's funny is because all the old ancient doctrine, particularly of religion, all say that. They're like, don't chase those pieces, those trinkets, serve. And that's awesome, man. Thank you so much for being on the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast.
No, thank you for having me on.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is how we conclude the podcast. Remember, you are a spiritual being having a physical experience. Let me say that again. You are a spiritual being having a physical experience. Hence the Matrix. But you are connected to the universe. What I want you to do is remember how you came to this place. You came to this place cold and naked. So when you get out the shower, drop your towel after you get all the water off and mosey over to the mirror, turn some music on, and just dance with yourself. Once you finish dancing and seeing all those body parts move, then get close to the mirror and I want you to look into your own eyes. Those eyes are like nebulae in the sky. As above, so below. When you think about something, you can make it manifest into this world. This gentleman thought about how he could help some people and he manifested into the world. As above in the head, so below in the body that comes out to the world. If you don't think anybody loves you, start with yourself. Because if you love yourself, if you have faith in yourself, if you have faith that you are connected with everything that is powerful because you are a billionaire, then everything's going to be all right. Then the love will come to you and everything else. Remember, serve and give what you intend to get, and life will be joyous. Till next time, peace.